You are born looking like your mom and dad, but you will die looking like your decisions. I do not care how much money you have, how much influence you have. What I care about is, are you actually happy? Really? I studied nature's laws, which is the oldest living laws. You know, you drop a seed into the ground in rich soil, give it proper water and sunlight, and learn what weeds are and keep the weeds out. And then however you nurture the seed is what grows the feed. And so when it comes to purpose, I'm thinking in terms of, okay, what's the tree's purpose? To stretch its roots down as far as possible, grow as high as possible, stretch its limbs out as far as possible, grow as many fruits as possible, many leaves as possible, literally grow to its max. Birds fly high as possible, fly far as possible. So if I go to the human, could my purpose be to experience the fullness of life? Could it be to grow to my max? And I'm not talking about the growing that is like me growing in height. I'm talking about the growing of my mind. The essence of life is growth, Jim Rohn said.
The essence of life is growth. The essence of life is growth, to do the best you can.
I started making my purpose to grow to the fullest expression of what it means to be Garrain Stefan Jones. Literally 10 years ago, I was $250,000 in debt. I tried to take my life twice. My mom was dying in the hospital. My girlfriend had left me because I couldn't take care of my life. Lived in my car for 2.5 years. All of that was happening simultaneously. And 10 years later, I have 2 7-figure businesses. I've spoken at the time in 62 countries all over the world. I'm in rooms with some of the most powerful business minds. That was only 10 years. We are very powerful magnets. Whatever the most continuous thought you have is going to be magnetized to your life in its physical equivalent, whether you're conscious of it or not. I can't stand this. Can't stand this person. Oh, why do I keep attracting this kind of person? Because consciousness doesn't hear, I can't stand. It hears this person, this kind of person. I don't think people realize just how powerful they are, how powerful their being is, because they thrive off of rewards and certificates and things of that nature. The way you as a magnet works, what you want wants you. But also what you don't want wants you. And most of the time, there's a thought in your mind that's, I don't want this kind of thing. I don't want to die, and I don't want this, and I don't want. So it sounds like the negative Smurf. Oh, I hate this and I hate that. But it might not sound like that outwardly, but in the mind, the stinking thinking. It's over 55,000 thoughts a day, and whichever one you concentrate power to, then starts to build this. It starts to create this wavelength that has this plastic universe shape itself around you. Just know that you're a very powerful magnet. Let's just play in the realm of possibility. If you are the most powerful magnet in the world, and you attune yourself, kind of like a radio station, to a specific station or frequency. Think about how a radio station works. Static, shh, Then you get a station you don't like. Why would you listen to a station you don't like? But then you attune it. You're like, oh, this is my station right here. And all of a sudden you start attracting people who like that music. Well, let's just say your attunement sometimes is not a station that you like, but you keep listening to it and complaining about the station that you don't like, but you keep listening to. You're telling the attuner, I like this station. So it's gonna keep attracting the same kind of people that don't like this station, but they keep listening to it. Well, what if you turn that dial to a station you actually like? You're gonna feel different on the inside. And the feeling is the secret, said Neville Goddard. So then you start feeling different, which emotes a completely different frequency. So if you understand how to attune yourself, you'll send out a completely different signal. And whatever signal you send out, whoever's dancing to that signal, whoever wants to hear that station is who's gonna show up. So I love gamifying my life. Like when I have some type of schedule or ritual or something, I can just do the same thing over and over and over. But if I know it produces a result, now I'm like, there's like, I tap into some kind of universal secret. And, you know, I read a book called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and he was talking about like how you have the 20-20-20 formula, 20 minutes of intense exercise, 20 minutes of reflection, and then 20 minutes of growing your mind. And I was just like, man, I just started to build upon that. And I started to wake up earlier, go to sleep later, because I'm less productive the later and later it gets, especially when you have a family and you have a kid. It's like a whole thing. I started to go to sleep earlier, and then I started to wake up earlier. And I realized that when I would wake up and nobody else was awake, there was just like this unwritten secret where I felt more connected to everything. Like no phone, no computer. It's just me and whatever thoughts are on my mind as soon as I wake up. So I wake up at 4:20 in the morning, and I know that when I do something physical, it boosts my serotonin, lowers my cortisol levels, which is the fear hormone. And when I do something spiritual, like pray and meditate, it raises my vibration. And I know when I'm learning something, it expands my mind.
See, the goal is not to work out for muscles or to lose weight or to gain weight. The goal is to use your physical body to ingrain discipline inside. That discipline can translate to every area of your life. So training for the wrong reasons can ultimately lead to a detriment. Sometimes people are like, yo, why are you going so hard? What are you training for? Life. This shit ain't easy. But those who make it look easy put in the kind of reps that nobody does. So I don't train for the muscle. I don't train for the abs. I try to put myself through as much physical extreme as I can, and create a game where how quickly can I find peace of mind, calm breath. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So when the stresses of life, the stresses of the government, the stresses of media come down and they take us out, the weapons of mass distraction, who's the one that can take a bird's eye view, look at things from a place of neutrality, not picking sides, but picking your side and allowing everybody else to benefit from your overflow, not your exhaust. It's one in the dark. It's one when it's stressful. You get that when you're the most challenged, and you rise past that, take a step past that. and then choose peace. Respond with calm and tranquility. That's where you grow your strength, right there.
Most people are just kind of just living or existing. This is what life hands me. I'm just Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Seems like I've been here before. You have. And I think that, and these are some things, like, I don't have it all figured out, but these are things that I'm continuously working on. How can I be the most intentional with when I get dressed, when I discard clothes, when I'm eating food, when I'm with my daughter, when I'm with my wife? And I don't always get it. Like, I mess up a lot. But my heart is like, how can I be the most intentional? The time disappears. Or it's like, where did all the time go? It seems like yesterday is 20 years and I'm still in the same spot, because you didn't have intentional living. You don't intentionally eat your food. You just eat it the same way, with the same, like, sit down the same way and the same. And then you look up and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm 50. I'm 60. Oh no, you weren't intentional with your life. Maybe you settled. Maybe you just didn't think that there was a better quality of life. But I think that where one can start, next time you go and grab a glass of water, start simple. Say to yourself, I am intentionally purifying my body and ridding all toxins, and I'm pouring liquid gold inside of my body. And then when you drink, allow yourself to really feel that tranquility going down, and knowing that with each gulp, it is purifying your channel, it's purifying your body. I bet you that would be the best glass of water you have ever had in your life. So imagine if your son comes up to you and says, Dad, 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 Dad. You ignore him for 5 minutes. Oh, let's just take it out a day. Dad, listen to me. Dad, listen to me. Take it out 5 years. Take it out 10 years. Take it out 15 years. 20 years, 25, 30, 40, 45. What's the relationship going to be like? There's no relationship because there's no emotional closure. There's literally no connection point because you're not listening. Now imagine the inner child that's inside of you that's always wanted to dance, sing, play art. And every time you abandon that from when you were a little kid, whatever it is, playing in the rain, whatever the thing is that brought that child inside of you so much joy, and then you left it because you're older or it's not cool anymore, and you left it. Every time, if say for instance, you wanted to be a dancer, and then you see somebody dancing, and then all of a sudden it's like, I remember I used to love to dance, and that's a quiet voice inside. Let's just say your inner child is going, Dad, Dad, Dad. So take it out one day. Now take it out 5 days. Now take it out 20 days. Now take it out a portion of your life. It does to your soul in relation to your physical and spiritual self the same kind of relation that would happen, a disconnected relation that would happen if you did not pay attention to your son saying, Dad, Dad, Dad. And that's what's missing. In the quiet of my mind, a lot of times people don't talk about this. They present themselves a certain way, but then there's the actual reality of the silent suffering, where the silent voice is saying, my dad didn't love me when I was little. And then that program starts running. Do you love me now? He may not even say it, but his energy that wanted the love of his father so much was that strong that that little boy then built an entire world around, maybe now they'll love me. And so this is why some of these C-suites and CFOs and executives and founders are broken. That is suppressed emotions that never found a home. And it's always, especially if it was negatively impacted and suppressed, it will always come out through negative outlets. Unless you reroute it and learn how to transmute that energy, put it into something else that leaves a more empowering narrative. And so it is very important as we look and turn on the TV and we see all the suffering and we see all of the abuse with men, and you can see the bars and just filled up. I know what that is. You don't just casually get wasted every single night. Unconsciously trying to fill a hole with the things outside of you that only you can fill yourself. That is the ripple effect of suppressed emotions, and we wonder why. When even as men, they say, boys don't cry. And so we're trained to not express our real raw emotions. And so they come out in sports, and they come out in aggression, and you be a gold medal athlete, and then you look at their life 5 years later, and you look at what happens with their wives and their kids, and you look, all of that is the ripple effect. You take it all the way back to the little kid. They may not never say it, but this is the level of people that I coach. Jim Rohn says you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And most people work harder on their job and they leave the self and wonder why. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. So I'm gonna create ways. Do you see me now? Do you love me now? Do you accept me now? Do I fit in now? And that system is broken. Turn on the TV and you can see how broken it is. Are you living from the outside in or the inside out? Anyone who's living from the outside in, they're living a hard internal life. You can see it. It's evident. It's so evident because you can just turn on the TV. People complaining about what we created. But literally, we created what we complain about in the media, in our government. We literally created it. We perpetuate the same behavior. Humans created what they complain about. When people start taking accountability, they start taking responsibility, that's when we'll see a change. That's when the system starts changing. You don't change the people, you change the system. The system changes the people. But you got to change the system inside of yourself. In losing my freedom, I literally discovered my freedom. I was more free in prison than I was when I was free.
Who has the biggest muscles? The most physically strong. Most physically strong people. Sometimes the weakest people, they don't know how to be vulnerable. They don't know how to speak and be their truth. They're living the perspective of somebody else's life. But the level of strength it takes to be yourself in a world full of people trying to be someone else is difficult. The level of strength it takes to speak your truth, be who you authentically are, deep down on the inside, that takes a different kind of animal to find the power to possess your own mind. So what am I training for? Who I really am. And breaking through 44 years of being what everybody else wanted me to be. That's the bullshit right there. Living a life based off of what you think other people think of you and then calling that a life. Through your peace, through your inner peace, the inside game, that's the gateway to who you really are. How fast can you find peace of mind when you are in your most extremes? It's easy when it's easy, but when you get challenged, when it's the most difficult, that's when you see who you really are. The game. There's not one out there. The game is one in your breath, your life force. But never train for the Super Bowl in the Super Bowl. Daily practices of meaningful disciplines while raising your vibration, building your physical body, growing closer to God, as well as the divinity within you. That's the real Super Bowl. And then, when the arguments, when the fights start pursuing, when your money falls in your business, when there's a breakup, you're not seeing through the eyes of pain. You're seeing through the eyes of your full self because you don't give anything outside of you power to take control over your life. That one must train for. And so I use physical training to be able to harness the inside game in a harmonious way. Make your old hard your new easy. And you will see how much confidence you have, how much self-belief you have, how you can walk in a room in front of anybody, no matter what tax bracket they have, and you will never shrink because you have your full self, but you trained for your full self.
So if you look at an iPhone, if you don't close the app and you leave a bunch of apps open, it slows the phone down. Well, guess what? Anything that has ever impacted you in your life is an open loop, just like an open app. So the moment you start getting to the root of things and then you release it, you let go of the resentment, start forgiving, you start doing that inner work, you're like, yo, I feel lighter. I know. The hot air balloon doesn't leave the ground unless you release the weight. And a lot of times it's the weight of your past. Oh, stocks and bonds and doctor and this runs in the family. So you leave the thing that you're passionate about, it wakes you up out of your sleep, even as a little kid, to then give your power away and then assume the identity of it runs in the family. So you have people that have $50 million, $100 million companies right now dying on the inside. The cemetery is not where you see the most dead people. It's when you encounter people with something that's died inside. And so what do? You overcompensate for work. You overcompensate with alcohol and so many different things to mask who you see when you look in the mirror and the truth shows up and nobody is around. All of this, I have a philosophy that says adults are deteriorated children. And the moment you start abandoning what's really true for you, what really makes you happy, what really lights your soul on fire, starts the separation of the original power that transfers into giving your power away. And that's what's missing. That's the emptiness that happens. That's what people try to fill with sleeping around and fill with relationship to relationship and fill with work. It's the separation of self. Listening to what everybody else says instead of your own voice, your own internal voice. It's like, I feel like I should do this. I feel like, and then you'll share that, and then somebody will be like, that's a stupid idea. And the moment you believe what everybody else tells you what you cannot do, when the vision came through you, there starts the separation from your physical self and your spiritual self. You are born embodied. You are born a magician. That's why you have all the energy, all little kids, all the energy, all the creativity. You think big. Every little kid, oh, when I get older, I'm going to be always something massive. Okay, take that same little kid, 30 years, 20 years, working a 9-to-5 job, getting paid less than your value out of security and fear. What happened is you forgot your original dream and you abandoned it because of what somebody else said to you. Ultimately, that's what happens.
Today's episode, as always, was powered by Huel. This stuff has been absolutely crucial to my training and the world record I just broke, the world's heaviest marathon, where I carried 220 pounds for 28 miles. Yes, I achieved it, guys. It is done. This is what I was drinking, Huel Black Edition. It has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals and slow release carbs. And it's what I use in my training all the time. But don't just take my word for it. People like the hardest geezer ran across Africa drinking this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And if you want to get exclusive offers and deals, go to the link in the description and you can find out more about their other products like their daily greens and their meals, which I eat every single lunchtime. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video.